All right, everyone, a quick recap of day 5 of the World Cup. Groups G and H today. Some very interesting games today. Upsets all around. This was the day of upsets, people. None of the favorites won today. In fact, actually, it was 4 draws today. So let's get started with, obviously, I think it's the biggest shock of the day, Spain and Cape Verde. Man, where do I start? Well, I think I'll start by giving Cape Verde so many props. What a defensive performance by Cape Verde today. They were absolutely excellent. They played a low block, which frustrates Spain's. Their wide players, fullbacks, their wide midfielders played an excellent game today. And they even had some counter-attacking chances where they could potentially have stolen a win today, which would have made this even more special than it already was. But I can only give props to Cape Verde. It's a historic result for them. It's their first ever World Cup game, Cape Verde today. Absolutely fantastic. I've got to give so many props to Cape Verde. And they'll be feeling like they have a chance in this group round. Well, all teams are tied at 1 point. We'll get into Saudi Arabia and Uruguay in just a bit. All the teams are tied at 1 point. All the teams really will feel like they have a chance. But Cape Verde, they're going to feel like they played what is on paper the toughest team in the group. Spain are ranked number 3 by FIFA in the world right now. So on paper, they've played the toughest team. They'll feel like they'll have a chance against Uruguay and definitely Saudi Arabia. Cape Verde will feel like Saudi Arabia is a game that is there for them to potentially win and guarantee a spot in the next phase. But obviously, other teams are going to feel similar. So this group is wide open. It's a fantastic story for Cape Verde. Fantastic first appearance in the World Cup for them. Brilliant. And I'm so happy because I'm Brazilian as well, and I'm happy for my Portuguese-speaking brothers at Cape Verde. Now, getting into Spain, obviously, it's very typical of them. It's a common issue with them that they have difficulty breaking down opposition that plays in a low block like that. It leaves very little space for them. They play a passing style. They don't play a direct style of football, so it makes it very difficult for Spain to break oppositions that play in such a compact low block like that. So this is nothing new for Spain, by the way. It's been like this for years. 9 times out of 10 it works, and they end up winning the game. But the thing with Spain is they don't have a plan B. Really, the only thing that they have differently, Spain, is they have Lamine Yamal and they have Nico Williams, which I think offers Spain something different. But unfortunately, both players are coming back from injuries at the moment. And both players actually came in the second half. I think Yamal came into the 70th minute, 75th minute, something like that, with 15 minutes left to play, and Nico Williams came on with about 5 minutes to go, so they didn't get enough time, and neither of them are match fit. Lamine Yamal hasn't played football for, 2 months now, and Nico Williams has actually had a really poor season, actually, this year. Even as good as he was in the Euros 2024 when they won, he came off a pretty good season that year. This season has not been a good season, technically speaking, for Nico Williams. So we'll see how he does in this World Cup. It should be interesting to see because, yes, I think those 2 players are absolutely key for Spain because they offer them something different. You know, both players, they like to go in that one-on-one style of football where the rest of the Spain team, they are really into that passing style of game. So I think those 2 players will be key for Spain's chances going forward. Don't get me wrong. I think regardless of whether those players' status, I do think Spain will get out of this group. I would be shocked if they don't. Despite the result today, I do fancy their chances to get a better results in upcoming games against Saudi Arabia and Uruguay. Some teams, they start off the tournament slow and they slowly grow into the tournament. Spain are going to hope that this is the case for them. If they can take inspiration from something, they can take inspiration from the fact that Argentina lost their very first game in the 2022 World Cup against Saudi Arabia, and guess what? They went on to win the whole thing. So Spain will hope that happens with them. Next game in the same group, Saudi Arabia against Uruguay. This game was very much a game of two halves. Saudi Arabia, I thought, were excellent in the first half. They were very effective, scored their goal, and deservedly were up in the break. The second half was entirely dominated by Uruguay, and the Saudi Arabia goalkeeper, I think, saved Saudi Arabia from a loss in this game. If it had not been for him, I think Uruguay would have won the game. Uruguay is in a bit of a weird position right now. They're a bit of a transitional phase. Some of their veteran players have retired now. Luis Suarez has gone. Well, I know Luis Suarez offered himself for a call-up for this World Cup, but Marcelo Bielsa didn't want to take him. And make of that what you will. But yes, they're in a bit of the transitional phase right now. They do have some quality players. Take Valverde, Real Madrid, Ugarte, Araujo. They have some great players, but I think maybe the next World Cup they're going to be better than they are now. Saudi Arabia has been, I think, kind of growing into the soccer space. They've been investing a lot of money into football. Saudi Arabia has their 2030 plan, which they're really investing a lot of money into football. Obviously, their domestic league is really hyped up right now. Cristiano Ronaldo plays over there. A bunch of other big-name players, Benzema, Kante, etc., play over there. So they're investing a lot of money into football. All goes into their World Cup, which they're hosting in 2034. So Saudi Arabia feels like a team that back in the day, taken 2002, when Brazil, my nation, last won the World Cup. I remember Germany beat Saudi Arabia 8-0 in that World Cup. It feels like the Saudi Arabia don't get beaten that handily anymore. They're no longer fools in the sport. So they're growing into the sport. They haven't made the knockout stages, strangely. They've only made the knockout stages once in World Cup history. And interestingly enough, it was in the 1994 World Cup, which, guess where it was hosted? It was hosted by the USA as well. So they'll feel like they have a chance to make the knockout stage, especially with this group format where the third or the 8 best third place teams qualify for the next stage. So they'll definitely feel like they have a chance. Cape Verde will feel like they have a chance as well. So going on to the other group, Belgium, Egypt today. Another draw. It was all draws today. This game seems like it was changed by the introduction of Romelu Lukaku about halfway through the second half. Before that, Egypt had a very good defensive structure, and they seemed to be nullifying anything that Belgium had to offer. But the introduction of Lukaku changed everything. And in fact, it was only 23 minutes, or 23 seconds rather, not 23 minutes, 23 seconds after Romelu Lukaku came on, and his presence was felt immediately and actually forced the Egyptian player into an own goal. And Lukaku actually had a chance later in the game to actually win it for them as well, but couldn't take it. But I feel like a draw is a fair result for this Belgium-Egypt game. Again, the very different periods in the game. Egypt, I thought, played very well up until the introduction of Romelu Lukaku, but that number 9 presence in the box changed everything for Belgium. Obviously, Belgium will feel disappointed by this score. They will feel like they should have won the game, but it is what it is. So this World Cup seems to be throwing surprises everywhere. I still fancy Belgium's chances to advance in this group because they still have to face what on paper are weaker teams. You've got to think that they're going to pick up enough wins. Obviously, we maybe thought the same thing about Belgium in the 2022 World Cup, and they ended up getting eliminated. But again, because of how the group stages are formatted now and how the 8 best third-place teams qualify for the next stage, it's hard to see a scenario where Belgium don't qualify, especially since they picked up a point today. New Zealand, on paper, is the weakest team of the group. You gotta think that Belgium is gonna pick up 3 points against them. You gotta think. Well, maybe not. Maybe we'll be surprised. We'll see. But I would still fancy their chances. And last game of the day, Iran against New Zealand. Oh man, well, where to start with this game? There's so many things to talk about. Obviously, Iran in this tournament are at a competitive disadvantage compared to every other nation in the World Cup. As it's probably widely known now, Iran are staying in Tijuana. They have to fly in and out of their venue on the same day. They can't stay overnight in the United States, so they have to fly in to the city in the day of the game. So they can't come in a day before and rest like any other national team could. So there's no denying that that puts Iran at a competitive disadvantage. To their credit, they gave their all today against New Zealand. Obviously, Iran has never made the knockout stages of a World Cup. They've come close a couple times. Last World Cup in 2022, they faced the last group game against the USA, ironically, with a chance to make the knockout stages, and they lost to the US, couldn't make it. But obviously, Iran, they've put some very respectable performances in the World Cup. I remember back in 2018, they played very tough games against Spain. I think they only lost 1-0 against Spain. They tied against Portugal. They were very respectable and actually came close to making the knockout stages there as well. So they came close a couple times, but couldn't quite get there. But I think you can forgive the Iranian players right now for not being 100% focused on football, with given other circumstances that are going on right now. But obviously, I thought they've done well, to be fair. This game in itself, Iran, New Zealand, defenses on both sides were pretty bad, if I'm honest. Okay, it was a 2-2. It was an entertaining game, but not great defensively from either team. From New Zealand point of view, they have still not won a World Cup game ever in their history. This is only their third World Cup appearance. In '82, they lost all their 3 games, and in 2010, they drew all 3 games. So they still haven't won a World Cup game in their history. As Egypt, come to think of it, I was talking about Egypt earlier. They still haven't won a game either in their history. So definitely a first there for them as well. But yes, just a recap of the games today. Looking forward to some of the games tomorrow.